So I guess maybe I'll take a credit card on top of the registration is, I mean, where, kind of, where we go on board. Trying to get you guys logged in there. Realize they don't have that card on me, so it's just okay. Now that I think I own like. This was for. Second there, and that should be here for. Yeah, you know, I was struggling for a while, but now that I think about it, didn't have the card. I think I'm doing the whole thing. You guys having any? Yeah. In my area. No. Again. Are you ready? Everybody got their names in the draw. I don't think any of us want that. No, come on, you make it good. Not pretty. Yeah, I done it before, so none of us want to run it. Fine, I think it should be gratitude. Yeah. Okay, more gratitude. Tell us something before. Nice long weekend. The full weather after having the last week. They're never here, but I'll only say thank you to Peter and to Courtney. Both of them sat in my group interviews for us. We've been past some serious hiring for the new agent services coordinator role. I'm excited to say that we have hired somebody, so you won't see me sitting at the front desk every day. They'll start Tuesday. I have a superstition that I don't announce it until the day they start, so that's not even it yet. But, we're really excited, and I think it's gonna be a great fit for the role. So very excited. All right, next slide. Todd, thank you for calling 31. I don't think you planned that.
It was the last thing. We got whips.
That's so funny. So, thank you very much. All right, you're up. I've got real quick here today.
He's already.
Well, stand it up here. You need this.
Yeah. Thank you. Cool, we're gonna talk a little bit about RPR today. It's probably new to some of you and probably not new to others, but RPR is a really, really powerful tool that each and every one of us gets access to through the National Association of Realtors. By being a member there, you get access to this tool. It's exclusive to real estate agents. It takes public data and puts it with MLS data. Go to the next slide. Tom. And so it's unique in that it puts that data together so you can find it in one place. And with the MLS data, it can have past transactions on a home. And with the public data, it's going to have all kinds of additional stuff in there. You're going to find mortgage records. You're going to find deed records, neighborhood information, school information, all kinds of stuff like that. And there is no access to anyone outside of real estate or to the general public. Next. It takes tons of sources. I don't know what all of these are. You'll recognize a couple of them on there, like the MLS. Google has the Street View, things like that. Got flood map, niche for the pool info, and puts all of that together along with some AARP livability information. Next. So if you haven't gone there before, you can find RPR at NARRPR.com, the National Association of Realtors, NARRPR.com. And the next slide, there is a mobile app as well. If you don't have that, you can find that by searching RPR in your app store or Play Store. There is a QR code if you really want to scan it and get that as well. I'll give you a second to scan that if you want to. And RPR does have a residential side as well as a commercial side. So I encourage you to check it out. If you have not ever used it before, the first time you go and you open it up, you're going to choose the create account option. And once you choose create account, you'll be able to search for yourself by last name and the email address that you have on file with the MLS, or last name and your MLS number. And then it'll walk you through creating your account, and it'll be directly connected to you as the agent, and it'll already be pre-branded to your brokerage because we've set that up on the back end as well. Next slide. Within the mobile app, it does have a couple of additional features that are not in the on the website. Most of them, they either develop it first on the website or first on the app, and then eventually they bring it over to both. The one thing that they do not have in the desktop version that they do have on the mobile app is a property summary. So when you look up a property or a listing in the app, there's a little AI summary button down in the bottom right corner now. Eventually, we're going to get that on the desktop, but it's not quite there yet. But you can still do searches. You can still create reports. You can access the market trend script writer, which we'll talk more about in a bit, all from the app as well as on the computer. And then the stuff from the app is a little easier to share sometimes too, if you wanted to share something fast or something like that to Facebook, Instagram, or really any method that you can share from your phone. Next. So when you do first get into RPR, I'm just going to show you a couple things here, and then I'm actually going to switch over to my computer and I'm going to dive into it. But the menu across the top is where you're going to kind of navigate through. It's going to start on the home. There's a research menu. That's where you can access some of that neighborhood search information. You can research the demographics, info, schools, things like that, all within a neighborhood, as well as market activity. The marketing menu is really just a compilation of shortcuts to get to some of the other tools they have. Reports will let you create reports anywhere from a couple of pages to 81 pages on a property. And I don't know how many sellers or potential buyers want to read through an 81-page report, but if you encounter one, hey, they got you covered. There is a fantastic learn section in here too, with guided tours and little purple bubbles that'll kind of walk you through the features, as well as a huge resource of step-by-step and a video direction on how to use all of the stuff in here as well. And then everything that you do in there will get saved under the My List tab. So your recent searches, your recent reports, recent properties, things like that, as well as any of the reports that or properties you've saved or followed, you can find them all later under My List. So if you haven't used it before, one of the first and most important things to set up is your profile. You'll access that in the top right corner. You click on your picture or your icon, you'll have the ability to make sure you've got all of your contact info in there. Your photo, name, phone, email, all of that good stuff. Make sure that you've got a link to your website so that all of the reports and things you generate out of here are branded to you. Because we want them to have the brokerage branding and your branding all over those things, so they're not just generic reports. Next. And then just below that is where you'll kind of see the main section of the page. There's a search bar, you can put a few filters to it there. There's a handy shortcut menu across there as well, which is just gonna give you some of those guided tutorials I talked about, where it gives you the little purple bubble and it walks you through some of the things. And then there are some neighborhoods or cities that you can set up to follow so that they show up right there when you log in, kind of like your hot seat in the MLS. Just real quick and easy access to see what's new, what properties are active, what status has changed at a glance. Next. All right, and this is where we're gonna hop over and I'm gonna go live into my RPR and show you a few things. So share my screen. Second. All right, so here I am in my RPR. Like I said, the first thing is to click on your picture in the top right corner and go into profile. And just make sure you've got that filled out. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to walk you through how to type in your name, your email. I'll be glad to sit down and go through that one-on-one if you want me to, and we'll help you get that all set up. But fairly straightforward. You're just going to go through and fill out that marketing profile. And then the other piece here is when you click on your name in settings, you can set up the neighborhoods that you want to follow right here so that those will show up on your main page. Like maybe put in the 4 or 5 cities in the area that you kind of focus on, around where you live, or where you work, or where you want your primary business to be. I'm going to go back to my home screen here. So when we're looking at some of those markets, so here's the Maple Grove one. It's showing me currently 43 for sale, 1 lease, 21 at price changes. Just at a glance, I can see what's going on right there, as well as that border that it drew. If I zoom in, I can click on any one of these just to get a quick little preview. In a matter of a couple minutes, I can see what's new and what's changed. It's got coming soon, it's got actives, pending, sold, all of that right here. On any property, if you click on full details, pretty much going to have everything here short of agent remarks. So you can go in here, you can see your street view, you can see all of the MLS photos, those quick stats right across the top. And one of the unique things that RPR does here is it creates an RVM. And an RVM is a little different than an AVM. An AVM is what Zillow does. Sometimes they're accurate, sometimes they're wildly inaccurate. Now the RVM doesn't rely strictly on the public data, but it takes that MLS data and puts it with it to give you a more refined metric. Tells you when it last dated that, so that's what, 3 days ago, 2 days ago. And it's giving me not only the price, but it's giving me the estimated range, and then it gives it a confidence score. So if you come across a property that was a custom build and it's never been in the MLS before, that confidence score is probably going to be like 1.5 stars. Right there, you're going to know, hey, I probably need to go in and refine this one, customize it, and make it a little more accurate. But if it's got an RVM confidence score of 4 or 5 stars, I wouldn't be surprised if that RVM price it gives is fairly close to what you maybe would suggest, or at least within that range. And I did a few tests with it where I grabbed 3 random properties off of here over the last year. I did them at different times. And I hit the price, but I showed it to an agent and I just said, hey, based on what you can see here, the photos and the info on paper, what do you think this house would be approximately? And all 3 of them were within that range. The closest one was like $3,000 off of the RVM. So I think it's not like the end all be all what you're gonna, encourage them to list at in the range, but it's going to give you a really, really good starting point as you're starting to build out your CMA. Yeah.
This one here being a townhouse, you're gonna have a lot of comps typically, so it'd be easy for them to get an RVM on a townhouse versus a local property. So I think you gotta take that into account as well as to how many comps there are. But you notice that the RVM is underneath the actual list price. Well, that list price could get adjusted, number one. And the other thing too, that it's maybe not taken into account. It looks like there were some upgrades or updates to this property. The cabinets, the countertops, the backsplash, looks like they've got stainless steel appliances. And a lot of times those things are not taken into account. So you gotta look at it and say, okay, well, why is it lower than the actual list price? And those would be some of the reasons why. By the way, Marty and I talked about this a little bit earlier today, and some of the variables. And I think when you get more rural, just like Brazil, the more inaccurate it possibly could become.
Yeah, and then when you're doing comps, you gotta start looking a lot further out sometimes. Harder to find similar properties and so it becomes a little more challenging and I've encountered this where I looked up a couple custom builds and there was just nothing around similar. So I had to get really broad and just kind of go from there. We're here first and then we'll come to Chad.
Out of curiosity, when you say rural, or where you're considering rural, what are you imagining? Outside the 5-county metro area or?
Your backyard. Pretty rural, but yeah.
That's what I mean.
Even some of the towns, like Forest Lake or Wyoming, where they do have, housing stock that might have been built between 1990 and 2010, let's just say. There should be a lot of comps, but when I say rural, when you start to get out the acreage type properties, there's just gonna be so many variables, and then there's gonna be less sales.
Yeah,
So they're pulling public and MLS data. Do you know what public data they're pulling? Is it like Esri and other sites? Do you know where else they're pulling it from?
If you look at the partners, like Google.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I'd have to look into that and get back to you. I'm sure I can find at least the parcel list. I don't know exactly what sources they're looking at though. Yeah, those are great questions. So as you look down at this property, you're gonna see it's giving you some pricing tools here. Tools to get in to start to do a CMA, refine the value, things like that. I'm gonna see the description. I'm gonna see the property facts, and this is one of the places I can start to come in as an agent and refine this. Now, if I make adjustments here, this just lives in my RPR. You wouldn't see this in your RPR if you looked at the same property. These are private to me. But I could go in and I could start to make refinements because maybe I met with this person and I know like, hey, they've since finished the basement. They've added a bathroom. And I can start to make some adjustments in here that are gonna help me as I work through this process. And it's got all kinds of stuff in here, roofing, asphalt, 8 years or less, heating, fireplace, and they got floor and wall, like everything's listed in here. Interior features. Here's telling me some of the information it pulled from the public versus some of the information it pulled from the past time that it was listed. Exterior features, it just goes on and on. The legal description is listed in here and all of that information. It's gonna tell me the schools that are in the area, the school district it's in. And then I'm gonna see the owner facts. This person's been in between 5 and 10 years, they've owned this home. And it is owner occupied. They go down, be able to see the listing history. So this is the current one. If I click the previous listing tab here, it was also, it looks like it expired back in 05 for 139,000. Then I'm gonna go through and be able to see that deed and tax information in here as well. So that can be really helpful as you're going through. You might be able to see like, hey, they've taken out a second mortgage, things like that, giving you a little better idea where they might be at in this home financially. There's so much information in stuff here. Yeah.
So when you sign in, make an account, it attaches to your MLS, right? But it's public information from the MLS.
Sure, that's a great question. It is only, so RPR works everywhere in the US. And it only accesses the MLS data for the MLS that you are a member. So you would be able to see MLS data in California.
But we're more similarly to Zillow or something with.
Yeah, you're gonna see the public information if it's outside of, and any MLSs that you're a part of. Yep.
So I give you, if you like, your also, your 2 MLSs, they'll give you both.
Yeah, I think you have to add the second one in your profile with your MLS number. It'll default to the one that you create your account with. So as you're going through looking at these properties and you want to start making some adjustments, you can come into this CMA value, you click create CMA, and it gives you two different types that you can create. There's a comparative analysis, which is quick and easy, kind of a little bit of a cheater one almost. And then there's a full sales comparison analysis. The biggest difference is the comparative analysis, the easy one. You're gonna pull your comps and you're just adjust a little slider. Is this property better or worse than mine? You don't go into all the specifics. You don't adjust anything else. It's literally just a slider. Is this one better or worse than mine? With a full sales comparison analysis, it actually gives you the ability to adjust the price in dollar amount for every single detail of the home. That's pretty detailed and probably adjusting every detail is probably more than what most agents would do, and you may end up adjusting the property too much on some of that stuff. So the MLS is still a fantastic place to create CMAs. This is just another tool we have. So I'm going to show you the easy one in here for this purpose. I'm going to go through and I'm just going to walk through these 5 steps. So I'm going to start by confirming the home fact. And, you know, if there's anything that I know about the home, if I've talked to the potential seller or I've seen the home, I'm going to be able to start filling this out and making any changes. So it's showing me here what it knows about it from the public data versus what it knows from the most recent listing. So I'd go through and I would make any adjustments over here on the right. And want to, and to save time, I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to click the confirm facts and close. Okay. Now we're going to go to our next step where we're going to find comps. Now I've got all kinds of options over here to adjust based on property type and property status. It will default to the property type that your subject property is. You have the ability to select other ones, and then it's going to default to show you what's active for sale, pending, active under contract, and closed. This first, I'm just going to uncheck the active for sale because I specifically want to look at what's actually successfully sold. It defaults to the last 3 months. This is where as you get more rural, you're probably going to have to broaden that a little bit. You may have to go to 6 months, maybe even more. Just have to keep in mind what the market was doing 6 months ago or a year ago if you're looking at a bigger timeline. You can adjust based on beds, baths, all of that stuff right here. I'm just going to click search so I can see some other properties in the area. This particular one, I found one. But I'm going to jump out of this. I'm going to show you the one that I did earlier as I was playing around with this morning because I've already got a couple selected. I'll show you one for a single family home. I can find it because I did it earlier. I can go right into the my properties and recent right on the main page. This is the property not too far from here. Okay, so the same thing. We're going to go into this CMA. Confirm my facts, which I've already done. And select my comp. So we're going to click on find comp. And when you do my search, you'll see a lot more than just one result this time. Okay, with on 3. So these comps are all built within like 2 years of the subject home. The prices were $350, $350, and $222. And that was sold in March, April, and May. So for any of these that I want to add, I can go through and I can just click on them. And I can click on the address here if I want to get a better look at it to see if it's one that I should add. So let's look at this 2578 Charlotte by clicking on the address. I'm going to see the most recent information from it. If I go down, I can find the MLS number down here. That was 2003. That's not the one I wanted. Couple of these, as I was looking through them, that were kind of different situations where they didn't actually sell. It was more transfer of deed from divorces and things like that, so I have to pay attention to that on some of them. There it was. So when I find the MLS number, I click on it, it'll actually open up and I can see those most recent photos from the listing as well. That's gonna give me a great indication as, why is this home significantly more, or significantly less? Well, maybe it's a complete flip. Maybe it's already been completely flipped and been completely updated. Still looks nice, but looks like they've done some work in the kitchen. That's one thing I'll probably have to keep in mind when I go to actually create my CMA. So I've selected my properties here. And then I can go through to update the valuation. Where I move on to step 3, and I'm going to start to adjust comps. So here's where it's showing me the 3 comps that are selected for my property. And it's giving me that little cheater slider where I can go through. This one, I look at the photos, and that one was much worse. Maybe this one was a little bit better. And then maybe this one was just slightly better too. You can see, you can compare all of the stats, specs on the home with the subject property listed down the left. Looks like it didn't do much of an adjustment there, $175.
When they get that one for 203.
Yeah, I'm gonna adjust that one a little bit. That's probably a little more. So this one told me 315 when I did it like this. Now, I didn't go quite as in depth as you would. It recommended originally 327, I think, for the price. Yeah, 327. So that's where the sales and the sales comparison one lets you actually fine tune a little bit more. You kind of just have to find which one you prefer. And as you go through, you can review and you can make any additional edits, or you can just completely override that number if you know that it's off. If you want it to print the number or the range you want on your report. When you're done, you click on Create Report. It's going to give you all kinds of reports you can create. Just a general property report, one geared towards sellers, a simple property flyer, valuation workbooks. It tells you the approximate pages, and then you can refine down from there. It doesn't have to be 81 pages. So if I click on Customize here, it's going to show me all of the pages that it's including by default. Maybe I don't need some of these things. Maybe they don't care about the ARP livability index. And I can go and I can start to remove some of these. This is going to auto customize with your information here on the cover. You filled it out in your profile. And when I'm ready, I'm going to click on Run Report up here at the bottom. It's going to go ahead and it's going to create that report. Usually takes less than 5 minutes. When it's done, you're going to hear a little doorbell, and then it's going to let you know that it's done. You'll find it in My Work. I click on Reports here, so I got a little notification. I can see there was 2 of them I have been working on. So it's finalizing this one right here. I already did it to save a little bit of time earlier, just so I could show you a sample of what this report looks like. So customized to the property with my info, giving me that estimated value, the home facts, and it goes on and on. And there's a lot of stuff in here. So you probably need to create your first report kind of as a practice one, so you can see what information you don't care about. It's not something you're going to have to be talking about, so that you know to exclude those pages. Then you actually can save that as your own template in there too, so that you don't have to go and uncheck all those extra pages every time. But it's going to go through, it's going to have the report information, market health information, inventory, your comps. 81 pages is pretty extensive. So the reports is pretty fantastic within here. And then the other thing that I really wanted to show you in RPR is their market trends script writer. You can find that under the research tab here and residential market trends. Now, this is where they've incorporated AI to help you generate content that you can publish on social media. You can send to somebody just individually when somebody wants to know what's the market like in an area. You can put it into a newsletter, put it on your website. I mean, really any way that you want to share it, you can. So again, we're in research residential market trends. All we're gonna do is we're gonna search for a zip code, a city name, could go as broad as a county if you want to. Let's start with Roseville. Type it in and when it populates, click on it. It's gonna pull the market activity here for the previous completed month. So around the 9th of the month, you're gonna see the previous month update. So we won't see May's in here until around June 9th. Here's April, and this is defaulting for single family, condo, townhomes, all lumped together. Showing me the seller's market, balanced or buyers. Month's inventory, list of sold price, percentage, median days, and median sold price. See some other stats as I go down here as well. Right here, if I wanted to save this chart or graph and share it, you can do that by clicking the share button in the top right corner. And then under more, I could download this as a picture so I can go post it on LinkedIn, Facebook, anywhere. But what the heck do I say that I put with that picture? Well, that's where this create script button comes in, the top right corner. You can click on create script, and this is its integration with ChatGPT. So it's going to give you just a few simple options here, starting with your tone. What do you want it to sound like? Do you want it to be professional, engaging, conversational, or friendly casual? I'm going to go with friendly casual to see what it sounds like here. And I'm going to choose my audience. I want it just to be general for buyers and sellers. Specifically for buyers, specifically for sellers, investors, move up, luxury, downsize, distress. You can pick who you want this to be targeted towards. Let's go to sellers. And then I can choose, what do I want to do? Do I want to create a video script? It's going to give you like video script, opening scene with somebody standing there in front of the sign that says welcome to Roseville, and it's going to tell me what to say. Then it's going to say create a scene like this, and it'll give you a full outline to create a video. Social campaign, we'll break it into 4 or 5 individual social posts, each one addressing a different metric. And then analyze metrics is just going to give you kind of a short form summary of all of those metrics. Let's start with the analyze metric. As soon as I click it, it's going to start to generate and write that. Usually takes about 10 seconds. And the nice thing is that if every one of us right now opened this up and all did Roseville, ours are all going to be slightly different. So you don't have to worry about it being the exact same verbiage as the next person. So it starts off, okay, there's sellers, let's break down what these real estate metrics mean for you. I don't like that it says in a friendly and casual way, but I guess that's okay. So we've got month supply of inventory at 1.66, which means there's not a ton of homes on the market right now. This could work for work in your favor if you're looking to sell, as there's less competition out there. I love the way that it breaks it down so that the average person can understand, even if they've never heard of month supply of inventory before. If that's a little too laid back, I can go and I can change this to engaging from the tone, and then click analyze metrics again. It's going to rewrite it, but it's going to sound a little different. So you can gear it towards your ideal audience. The bottom, it gives you a bunch of options from just simply copying the text, exporting it to a Word document, PDF, the text file, or emailing it to yourself. You could easily copy this text. And then we've already downloaded this graph, start from before, and now I've got some content to post on social media. I can do this for Roseville the second week of the month. I could do this for St. Paul the 3rd week of the month. I could do it for Shoreview the 4th week. And I could set up a cadence of doing these things. And there's once a week, a monthly stat for maybe the 4 cities or areas that I kind of want to focus my business on. Super easy, simple information in an easily digestible way to share that market data. And if this isn't your ideal style of graph, you can go under Learn and Canva template to utilize the Canva templates that they've already created. Now, when you want to go use these, you'll have to plug in the current numbers, but there's a bunch of different templates here that you can use for sharing those stats. You find something that looks a little more your style or something that is a little more visually appealing. So I can click on this to open it up in Canva, and I would just have to go modify those numbers each month. Yeah, that's a great question, because if I'm gonna use this template right here, like that does not scream Roseville, does not scream Minnesota at all. So, but maybe I liked everything else about this. I could certainly plug in a different photo in the back. So, the third and final feature that I really love about RPR is the ability to pull names and addresses for free. You can pull up to 2,000 names and addresses every single month for free through RPR. That's a huge value because that's expensive to buy that data from a lot of third-party websites. So if I'm starting out here on my home page, one of the easiest ways to get in here is just by clicking the prospecting. Otherwise, it is under the search, but I'm going to click prospecting to get in there. And this is going to give me that little guided tour I was talking about. I'm going to walk through. It's going to tell me click on research, click on map search. So this is a great way to learn how to do that. Here you can toggle between residential and commercial. I'll leave it for residential for this. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to search Roseville. Now, when I clicked on the prospecting, it changed this status automatically to public records for me. By default, it was on for sale and lease, so you can always come in here and check it anywhere you're at, switch over to public records. Now, this has got way too many to pull, so you can see it. But I can use these tools on the right-hand side, like draw, and remove this boundary. Like draw, and I can use freehand, radius, polygon, just like a map search on the MLS. Polygon, and I draw my polygon and search this area. So it's showing me 500, but it says that it found 650 properties. Maybe that's a little too broad. Well, I could go in and I could adjust this area, clicking in the area and clicking edit. I could say, you know what, I'm going to bring this over. I'm going to bring this down to this section. Okay, we got down to 360. So you could do this around a listing, around an open house you want to mail to, or to create your farm area. And now that I've got this in here, I can go through and I can adjust any other criteria. I could add price, I could add bedroom count, bathroom count. There these are. I'm going to click search to update this. There's actually 407 that were under 600,000 there. Under more filters, you can get even more granular here. I could say exclude distressed properties. I could try to go by keyword. This is one of my favorite ones, is time owned. Maybe I only want to look at the people or the homes that have been owned for 10 or more years. 183. I'm getting a much more refined, much more purposeful list created here. Those people that have been in less than 5 years, you might be less likely to sell than these people that have been in 10, 15, 20 or more years. So once I have this set to where I want with the criteria, I click on mailing labels at the top of the map. And I can choose to do this as a spreadsheet, a PDF, directly to an Avery 5160, 61 or 62 label sheet. I personally like to go to a CSV because then you've got that spreadsheet that you never need to pull that list again. Next month, you can pull a different list. Otherwise, if you go to a PDF and you want to update, like you're gonna have to pull it all over again. I like CSV because you could potentially upload that into command to do a mailing, to any mailing source really. Then you can say who do you want it to be addressed to? Do you want it to go to the property address or the tax billing? Do you want it to have the owner's name or owner name and or current resident, custom name? Do you only want it to go to owner occupied? absentee owners are all, make sure you check exclude listed properties and also exclude properties on the do not mail list. And you might as well exclude properties with incomplete addresses. So there's 155 that it's going to export here and showing you that I got 2,000 to work. A lot of addresses you can get for free every month. I choose CSV up here is what I meant to do. Now I would just choose export. Done download. It was that quick. And I now have a spreadsheet of those 155 owner occupied homes in that area that have lived there for at least 10 years.
They pull phone numbers too, do that?
No phone numbers. That would be fantastic. Yeah. There's filters here. So you can filter by property type, you can filter by price, size. You would have to be reliant upon a keyword search, which may or may not be completely accurate. Yeah, so you could try it, but it may not catch everything. It depends if they put that in the keywords in the listing or in the property forward features or not. So those are my favorite features of RPR. Any questions? Yeah.
If you can do absentee owners that are out of state, not just all absentee owners.
I don't believe that you can specify that. What way you could do there is you could do an absentee owner and you go to a spreadsheet. And then you could sort your spreadsheet by state within the address fields. Yeah, so you'd end up pulling more than you needed, but you've got 2,000 to work with every month. So there'd be like a little bit of a manual step in that, but you could still do it, yeah. You could pull up to 2,000 addresses every month, so, you know, if you pulled 2,000, maybe 185 of them or 400 of them live out of state. So the rest of them would just, you'd have to kind of narrow down your list in Excel or in Google Sheets. Yeah.
2,000 recently.
Yeah, calendar month. So you got a couple days, go in there, pull a couple practice lists and it resets in a few days.
I have a question.
Yes,
So is there any way that I can change the, do that, like a refined value of the property? I have a Wheat Hill right now, but the house got like 600 more square feet. And now on the RPR, it's a very low price with less square feet. So how can I change that? Is there any way?
so you can change it. You know, when you go look up a home, you can adjust or edit that in there, but it's only going to adjust it for you. It's not going to adjust it if I was to go look up the property. Are you saying you would want it to be adjusted for everyone?
Right.
Yeah, it's not going to adjust for everyone because it's only going to go off of once the home is closed or anything it has from the public record. In
Okay.
order for it
Yeah.
to update for everyone.
Okay. Yeah. I saw that because I can see the new price or the value now that I changed that, but in RPR it stays the same. Okay.
Yeah, until it closes, it's not gonna, it wouldn't update in RPR.
And that's kind of weird because when we closed it, it was already like 2,100 square feet, and our RPR is still 1,600.
It already closed
Yes,
recently?
it closed, and now I'm selling it again.
Okay, so it closed a while ago.
Yeah, like 3 years ago.
Okay. That's interesting because it should have updated faster than that. Should be within like 30 days. Can you email me the address and I'll take a look at it?
Of course. Thank
Okay.
you. I appreciate it.
Any other questions in the room or from up above?
Have you ever tried, let's say, on the market to an apartment complex with full apartment?
It won't do apartment addresses. Yeah, I've actually heard that question quite a bit. I probably had 4 or 5 agents ask me that this year. Like, how do I get apartment addresses? And I don't have a great answer for that.
And I assume that would be,
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, turning a renter into an owner. Yeah, I would have condos where they've got like different units, but not apartments. Any other questions? No? Yeah.
What's the menu where you go and for do a marketing in Facebook or?
For that market information, you click on research
Okay.
and then residential market trends.
Residential, okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
it's like the 3rd or 4th option down under research.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Marty did like a workshop, is that something you guys would want to like pull your laptops up and do this with him in the room? Yeah. Perfect. Looks like we have a class with a training calendar. All right. Does anybody have any like what help we want to share or any buyer needs that you're struggling to find in those places? Mastermind with each other off the top of your heads?
Something real quick just about the screen. We need one more person. And then we'll be at 20. So this is happening Thursday. One more person, and we will have 20 agents that we will be giving away 2 $500 prizes. So if you've been thinking about signing up and not yet, you do today.
Right, anything else, anybody else wants to share before we go to lunch? Somebody. You guys have a good day. See, you're working your black. Yeah, see.